Shabbat of Erev Pesach. So it's the Shabbat before, or the Friday night before, our Pesach celebration. Our festivities begin tomorrow. And so tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. So Kabbalat Shabbat, which we've been talking a lot, if you've been watching our Tefillah tidbit, we've been looking at the different liturgy in our Kabbalat Shabbat, which is our sort of uh, entrance, our welcoming of Shabbat. And so on this night, we're about to enter into the season of freedom. We are going to do a little bit more Kabbalat Shabbat to get in that mood of entering into the sacred and what it means to prepare yourself. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, our visual tefillah, our siddur. And thank you all so much for being with us tonight. And I hope everybody, even though it's going to be yet another quarantine Pesach, I hope everybody has some plans. And if you don't, I hope everybody plans to join us for our Seder, our communal Seder tomorrow night. So, it's the Ding Dong Passover is here. We will have ding dongs for a little while as people are joining us. Thank you, Jermaine. All right, here we go. So before we jump into the song, I just want to say that this is an original tune by our very own Josh Niehaus. And he sung it for me a little earlier. I love it so much. The words of Yedid Nefesh, which I'm sure many of you already know a tune for this. But tonight we are going to experience something new by Josh.
I have one more line. That's where it ends. But I'll just sing the next line. Yeah, thank you. This is a world premiere. I just wrote this tune, and like Rabbi Sidney said, we're going to extend things to get into the mood. And so I want to start with a nigun, just a wordless melody to get into the feeling of the song. יהדי נפש אב הרחמן מסוף עבדך אל רצונך יערוץ עבדך כמו היה ישתחווה אל מולהדרך ינלנה ניי 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 ינלנה ניי 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 ינלנה ניי ניי ינלנה ניי ינלנה ניי 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 ינלנה ניי 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 ינלנה ניי 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 ינלנה ניי ינלנה ניי ינלנה ניי ניי ניי. You've heard it once, and if you are brave enough, you can try singing along with me. Yehdi nefesh av harachman misof avdecha el retzonecha yarutz avdecha kemo haya yirashtachaveh. I'm still working it out a little bit, but join me for the nigun. Hey, yanalana nine 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 nine, yanalana nine 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 nine, yanalana nine, yanalana nine, yanalana nine 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 nine, yanalana nine 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 nine, yanalana nine 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 nine, yanalana nine, yanalana nine, yanalana nine 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 nine.
Bill, would you be willing to read this for us?
It grows dark. I light 2 candles and drink a sip of wine, and the world changes for one day if I let it. There will be music and friendship and food if I allow it. There will be Torah and wisdom and goodness if I permit it. There will be quiet and napping and deep rest if I am open up to it. There will be study and expansion and new ideas if I consent to it. There will be prayer and blessings and meditation if I give into it. There will be hope. Sorry, there's a bubble here. Sorry. There will be hope and renewal and clarity if I walk toward it. If I let it, if I allow it, if I permit it, if I open up to it, the world changes for one day. Shabbat happens if I let it.
Thank you, Bill. So if you have your candles and you would like to light with us this Shabbat evening to signal the beginning of Shabbat, I invite you to go ahead and get those now.
Oh.
And we will sing the blessing all together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner Shel Shabbat. And now we move to the blessing of our wine on this Shabbat evening, our symbol of joy. So it is a custom to fill your glass to overflowing and to raise it high. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lemaseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'arta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim ve'shabbat kodshecha me'ava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. L'chaim. All right. Oh, everybody in my screen right now has actual wine to drink. That's so lovely. All right. And the blessing over our challah. Sadly, my husband and I have started the keto diet. So all we can eat is this cardboard-like keto bread. So if anybody has a good low-carb recipe for challah, please, you'll make your rabbi very, very happy. So, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon. B'te'avon, everyone. All right. So as we've been studying some of our special psalms for Kabbalat Shabbat, Psalm 96, Josh introduced a really wonderful tune for Ya'alo Sadai that is very upbeat. And on this eve of our Festival of Freedom, we've picked several sort of upbeat tunes for you all this evening. So, Josh.
יעלוז שדי וכל אשר בו יעלוז שדי איי 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 יעלוז שדי וכל אשר בו יעלוז שדי איי 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 אז ירננו כל הצר יער 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 יעלוז שדי וכל אשר בו יעלוז שדי איי 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 יעלוז שדי וכל אשר בו יעלוז שדי איי 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 אז ירננו כל הצר יער 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 יעלוז שדי וכל אשר בו יעלוז שדי איי 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 יעלוז שדי וכל אשר בו יעלוז שדי איי 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 איי
And the new psalm that Rabbi Molly and Josh introduced this week was Psalm 29. And you might be very familiar with these words. Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. And this tune incorporates some of the English translation into it. So we're going to learn this new one, and it's going to become a part of our regular Kabbalat Shabbat rotation.
Adonai oz le'amo yitain Adonai oz le'amo yitain Adonai yivarech Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom Adonai oz le'amo yitain Adonai oz le'amo yitain Adonai yivarech Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom God will give strength to all people and bless us with shalom God will give strength to all people and bless us with shalom Adonai oz le'amo yitain Adonai oz le'amo yitain Adonai yivarech Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom God will give strength to all people and bless us with shalom God will give strength to all people and bless us with shalom God will give strength to all people and bless us with shalom God will give strength to all people and bless us with shalom
We're going to continue now with a Lecha Dodi, welcoming in our Shabbat beloved tonight. And I know that many of you have had a difficult week. It has been challenging in all kinds of different ways. But when we enter into Shabbat, we're able to take just those 25 hours to let go of the stress and imagine the world as it should be rather than the world that is. So tonight, as we welcome in our Shabbat beloved, I want you to imagine who that person is. We're supposed to be welcoming the Shekhinah, the divine loving presence of God, but often that divine loving presence takes the form of our loved ones. So they can be with you tonight. Maybe, Frankie, you're sitting with Jack, and that's your Shabbat beloved tonight. They might not be with us tonight and separated by all kinds of different things. So tonight, when we do our Lecha Dodi and we turn towards that door, I want you to imagine that beloved person that you would like to see walking through it.
Lecha Dodi likakala pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likakala pene Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor beribor echad hishmiyanu elam yuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad shemu tiferet ve'letila lecha dodi likakala pene Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likakala pene Shabbat nekabela likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelecha ki michor havracha mirosh mikedem nesucha סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה lecha dodi likakala pene Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likakala pene Shabbat nekabela hitoreri Orech kumi uri shir daberi kavod Adonai alayech nigla lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela. Now we rise as we are able, and we turn to face the entrance. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam besimcha uv'tzahala, toch emunei am segula, boi chala lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela.
Seated. Before we move on to our next prayer, I'd like to invite anyone who has a simcha, anything that is joyous in your life that you would like to share with each other. Go ahead and unmute yourselves and let's share in each other's simchas this evening. Anything special tonight? It could be a birthday, an anniversary. You could have gotten a new car, COVID vaccination.
See, we were down in California. We got to send our granddaughter had her second birthday. And so we were able to be with them, and it was a nice occasion. Nice sunny weather. We got some
Beautiful.
sunshine as well as some family time.
Beautiful. Thanks, Mike.
I have one. Can you hear me?
Marion, yeah.
I finally got an appointment to see the doctor to get the x-rays so I can get this thing off in a couple of weeks.
Hey, Marion.
Hallelujah.
Yes, amen.
N-
Thanks.
What else?
Nancy and I got our second vaccination last Saturday. So
Puts us 1 week closer to being inside with our grandson.
Nice. Yes, you just have to wait those 2 weeks after the shot and you're good to go.
yeah, hopefully.
Fingers crossed. What else? What else do we have to celebrate this week?
I got my second dose today.
Beautiful. Thank you, Judy.
First.
Andy and Freeman, I saw you looking at each other.
I got my first vaccination today, and I was really excited. It's sort of like freedom is on the horizon.
I know. It's just in time for Pesach. Anybody else? So this week we had something very sad happen, but also very good, which is we lost our nanny. So we lost care. I mean, she's alive, she's okay, but we lost full-time care for our son. But thank God we got him into an amazing program, and he's going to start full-time daycare on Monday with my niece and nephew. And so there is going to be somebody responsible on Monday with my niece and nephew. And so there is going to be somebody responsible. All right, so I'm going to go back to our Siddur. All right, and we haven't done Shalom Aleichem in a while, so we're bringing it back as this sort of extended Kabbalat Shabbat this evening. And Josh has a very cool mix of old and new. So Rav Kook once said that we shall make the old new and the new sacred or holy. And so I think that Josh has hit the nail on the head with that tonight. So I hope you enjoy his new Shalom Aleichem as we welcome in those ministering angels in preparation for also welcoming in the presence of Elijah tomorrow night.
And of course, sing along. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Yashare, Malachi Elyoni, Melech Malchei Amlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Yashare, Malachi Elyoni, Melech Malchei Amlachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Yashare, Malachi Elyoni, Melech Malachi Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyoni, Melech Malachi Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachi Shalom, Malachi Elyoni, Melech Malachi Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ay, ay, ay. Boachem Shalom, Malachi Asharet, Malachi Elyoni, Melech Malachi Amlachim, HaKadosh ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. איי ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. איי איי איי, צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. Cause I need a sign to let me know you're here. All of these lines are being crossed over the atmosphere. I need to know that things are gonna look up, cause I feel us drowning in a sea spilled from a cup. And there is no safe place, no safe place to put my head when you feel the world shake from the words that I said. I'm calling all the angels, yeah, and I'm calling all you angels, call the angels. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Asharei, Malachi Helion Melech Malchei Amlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Asharei, Malachi Helion Melech Malchei Amlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu.
And now we go into our Chatzi Kaddish to signify the end of one section, our Kabbalat Shabbat, our welcoming of Shabbat into our Ma'ariv tonight. Yitgadal ve'yitkadash me'raba be'alma divrach yortei v'yamlich malchutei b'chai yechon uv'yom echon uv'chai dechol Beit Yisrael ba'gala ba'gala ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמירה במברך לעלם לעלמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן מעלמה ויאמרו Amen. So now we move to our Barhu, our call to worship. And if you're davening along at home in your Siddur, we're on page 28. And we rise as we are able, face east toward our holy city of Jerusalem, and sing together. Yain, hain, hai, yain, hain, hain, hai. Yain, hain, 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 hai. Baruch hu Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Leolam Vaed. Yain hai nai 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 yain nai 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 yain nai 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 nai. You may be seated. Let's see. Donna, would you like to read this for us?
Sure. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai Hamavarach Hamariv Aravim. Sorry.
Well, thank you. And now our Ahavat Olam, speaking of the amazing, life-changing love that God has for us, that we are able to experience with other human beings and extend that love back to our Creator. We are on page 33.
אהבת העולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. כי כן היינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה. ויעבדך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמי. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל.
So we've reached the point in our service where our liturgy asks us to take a deep breath, to shut everything else out, everything else external. Michelle Citrin, when she was with us last week, I thought she put it in such a beautiful way that by closing our eyes and focusing and trying to be comfortable in our bodies, it's almost like sensory deprivation. We are trying to block out everything external so that we can just focus on the words of our Shema. So tonight I want to ask you to go ahead and close your eyes. Try to let go of whatever you're holding. We carry our stress in our bodies, and just Try to relax your shoulders. Take a deep breath in and out. Another deep breath in and out. One more time. In and out. Sing with me. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol lebavcha v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam lehot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha Uchtavtam al mezuzot betecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai veitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem Emet. And in preparation for our singing of our song at the sea on the heels of our redemption from Egypt, our Michamocha, Josh has picked the most upbeat version, I think we have, of Michamocha tonight, Alana Arian's Michamocha. If you're davening along, we're on page 40.
I imagine as they crossed the river and sang this song, it just kept building and building and building. Started off slow and got into a state of ecstatic dancing as they witnessed the miracle. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Ya la la la, ya la 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 la. La 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 la, la 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 la, hi, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha, ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha, nehedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot, osefele, nora tehilot. Osefele, ya la la la, ya la 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 la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? One last time, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, hi, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Who is like you?
Tonight we are going to do a fully silent Amidah, so we are going to lead you into that space for that quiet contemplative prayer with the words Adonai tzvatai tiftach ufi yagid teilatecha. Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. And on Shabbat we have a shorter tefillah. The Amidah is shorter because we are actually asking God, or not asking God. We are praising God and not asking God for anything. So we have nothing but prayer on our lips during our Amidah tonight. And think of those things that you are grateful for, despite everything else that might be going on this week, this month, this year. The things that we can be thankful for as we praise God together silently. So we'll begin by facing east. Adonai tzevatai tiftach ufi yagid teilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Please continue silently, and when you're done, feel free to be seated. And we'll give thanks together for this holy day of Shabbat. Shamru, page 44.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית העולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל. הוציא לעולם כי ששת ימים, השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש. יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי לי לי, יאי לי לי לי, יאי לי 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 לי, לי 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 לי, יאי לי לי לי. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש.
So as sort of a wrap up to our private prayers of gratitude tonight, if you will open your chat and just type in one word, one thing that you're grateful for on this Shabbat evenings that we can share together as a community, because sometimes they're the little things that we forget. What are you grateful for tonight on this Shabbat? Johanna says her children. Air, just to breathe. Marion, nice. A sense of belonging. We all need that right now. Yes, thank you, Jermaine. Ooh, a new job, Tiffany. I want to hear about that. Community, TBT. I know it means a lot to me right now. Puppy. I've seen the puppy, Andy. He's very cute. Being together. Bill, you ran such a wonderful new members event. Joe Biden, thank you, Ed. My spouse, my daughter's grandson, brother, thank you, Richard. That's beautiful. And our beautiful world from Donna. Mike says his family. I'm just going to throw in a nice warm house to live in. A little sanctuary. Books. Books are great. I need to read more, Gloria. You need to suggest a good book to me. All right, so I'm going to continue with our song of peace, our Oseh Shalom, asking for God to continue to make peace for us all, those little blessings, those little miracles in our life that we need so desperately right now.
Oseh Shalom bimroma, יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומה, יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. יא לה 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 לה, יא לה 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 לה, יא לה 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 לה, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Oseh shalom bimroma, ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ואמרו אמן. יללי יללי last time. Ya la 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 la. Veimu.
And on that lovely note, Andy and Freeman had commented that the thing they're thankful for is Josh in the chat because he's doing such a wonderful job tonight. Beautiful music, channeling some John Lennon and Segovia. So yes, I'm always, always thankful and grateful for Josh because it means that I don't have to do all the singing.
I'm going to need to learn who that second person is.
Segovia. Maybe Andy will be good enough to share. So we are now moving into the one part of our service tonight that does actually ask God for something, for the blessing of healing, because we know that sickness, illness never takes a Shabbat. It never takes a holiday. So on this Shabbat evening, we think of many in our community who are in need of our prayers and our thoughts, our well wishes. Valentina Derchovsky, Azrael Early, Rohan Early, Tara Landry, Myra Masig, Patricia Shapiro, Orly Sherman, Amy Thornton, Deborah Newman-Castingay, Lindsay Robinson, Laura Armstrong, Stacy Hetzel, Diane Turner, Michael Sirkinpool, Jacqueline Tara Smith, Kalina Suzawa, Deborah Rose, Sid Rubin, Liliana Oxsmith. Actually, Sid Rubin can come off. He's doing much better. Hans Wheel, Phil Grinker, Terry Callett, Pam Shane Johnson, Eileen Kreisman, Ronnie Haber, Sherry Schnabel, Carlene Ackerman, Scott Bush, Lisa Bush, Sarah Rose, Mary Wilhite, Beverly Harrison Tonda, Ann Bernstein, Marav Frank, and Ida Marks. Are there other names?
Sky Held,
Mi shebeirach avotenu bekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
So sometimes there are weeks where I'm looking for inspiration. What am I going to talk to my wonderful community about? And then there are some weeks where something weighs so heavy on me that there's literally nothing else I can think about. So since you are my temple family, who I love as my own, I'll tell you that this has been a really difficult week for me. Last Friday, we got a report from evaluators at the North Shore School District. And although we didn't understand everything that was in it, it would appear that the folks who did the evaluation are concerned that my son Jacob might have autism. And although both my husband and I are convinced that if he does, it is mild, and we know so many wonderful human beings with autism who have very wonderful full lives, very smart. No one really likes to think of their child struggling. Nobody likes to think that there might be something wrong. And so it's definitely been kind of a cloud I've been operating under for the past few days, for the past week. And then today we had a conversation with his speech therapist. And we told her how we were getting him into full-time daycare. And her response was, that's going to be so good for him. We don't know for sure yet whether or not he has autism, but for children who do, one of the most important things is that he has a sense of routine, that he can understand his world and make sense of it and learn from it by giving him a little piece of the known. There's so much unknown in life. And for a child who is struggling with a learning disability, giving them some structure and routine is so important. So he starts on Monday, and we're so excited to see the progress that he might make. But I can't help but think of our Jewish tradition. So much of what we do as Jews is about creating routine. We call it ritual because there's a sacredness to it. But that routine helps get us through some very difficult times. I did a very unusual Passover Seder last year for my community, the first ever fully virtual Seder. And I'm sure for many of you, it was far from your routine, far from what you normally do on Passover. The funny thing is, my husband, his family reached out and said, we'd like you and your wife to be a part of our Passover Seder. And of course, my husband, being, the helpful guy he is, says, well, my wife, because these are like very loosely related relatives. He said, my wife's a rabbi and she can run the Seder. And everybody seems so excited about that. What they didn't really think all the way through is, because I'm a rabbi, I'm going to run a real Seder. For my husband and for his family, Seder, the ritual of their family Seder, was very different. And afterwards, everybody thanked me. They have not asked me to do another Seder for them this year. And I asked my husband, I said, they didn't seem to enjoy it that much. What was wrong? And he said, in our family, we would go to my great aunt Shirley's house. We would have a big meal. My Aunt Shirley would just start drinking her 4 cups of wine long before we even sat down to start reading the Haggadah. And about 2 cups into it, she'd get too drunk to continue. We'd eat and everybody'd pass out. And so for his family, their ritual was very different than what I gave them. And at first I was a little put off as a rabbi. I was like, there's 4 cups of wine, there's a beginning to the Seder, you have your meal, and then there's a whole bit afterwards, which they wanted nothing to do with. But I realize now that it wasn't just about the Seder. Yes, Seder means order, and that ritual, that routine is very important. And yet, everybody's idea of what is tradition in their family is different. So tonight, before we end our service, I just want to throw out this question and see if anybody wants to throw back. What are your Pesach, Passover, is one of the most celebrated holidays in the Jewish calendar. There are many people who don't do anything else throughout the year, but they will have a Passover Seder with their family. So what is your favorite Passover tradition? What is a ritual in your family that helps to center and ground you? Just unmute yourselves and throw it out.
I think my favorite part is getting it together, making the plate, making the haroset, cooking. I love the whole thing, but I really enjoy the preparation and getting in the spirit of it.
Nice. Thank you, Molly.
My
Having
favorite
the
part
children ask the 4 questions.
Oh, sorry.
Mike?
Yeah, well, having the children ask the 4 questions, or having one of the children ask,
Nice.
that's always nice to see that they're taking part in the service.
Nice. Thanks, Mike. Donna?
My favorite part is sort of like Molly's, except every year we call my mom and beg her to tell us her recipe for salt water. It's just a family joke. So every single year we ask and she says, well, I can't really share that because it's, I'm just not allowed to. So
That coveted saltwater recipe, yes. What else? What other traditions do you love that are uniquely your own?
Well, we have a story, and for us, the whole Seder can be not there, except to condense it to a sentence or two. My mother and her sister and her parents were fleeing the Nazis in spring of 1939. They're actually on a German passenger liner in New York Harbor on Erev Pesach. And of course, the German ship said, you guys cannot, this is not just to them, but to all the Jews on board, you cannot have a Seder. Of course, my grandfather, I've inherited some traits from him, kind of said, what are they going to do? Keep us on the ship and bring us back? So in the ultimate, it's in every generation. This is my mom, right, is here because they escaped. And they had a Seder, their first Seder in the US on a German ship in New York Harbor.
Awesome.
So that story is Pesach for me and our family.
Awesome. Sharing a little family history. So this year, when we all sit down for yet another virtual Seder, which, God, I could not have imagined in a million years that we would be doing this 2 years in a row. But as we sit down this year, think of what those traditions are, whether or not you can still do them. They might have to be slightly modified. Molly, you might be preparing a Seder and a Seder plate for one. I don't know, maybe other people in your building are vaccinated now, so you can actually have guests. Good, good. But think about those things that you want to create in your Seder, or that you want to lift up and celebrate in your Seder to center yourself. Because we all need that. We all need that sense of Seder, of order in our lives, to center us, to bring us back, and to remind us of what is truly important and truly special. My child will not be singing the 4 questions this year. He's barely mastered a version of the word chocolate, which comes out as kaki. But perhaps next year. Next year, as we say next year in Jerusalem, or next year in person, I'm also saying next year, perhaps I will hear Jacob be able to actually sing us the 4 questions. So thank you for giving me a little bit of a cathartic moment to bring you into my world. And thank you for sharing a little bit of your Passover ritual and the things that make your life beautiful as well. So I'm going to turn us back to our virtual seed doer. And as I do, I'm going to invite Andy Held, who is our board representative tonight, to share a few words of greeting and also any upcoming events. We have plenty.
Well, Shabbat Shalom, Chavarim. It is great to see you, at least little pictures of all of you. And yeah, good Pesach, almost. Yeah, lots going on in my life, so I'm going to go straight to the announcements. It's the beginning of a very big time happening, lots happening, and I'm just going to cover this week because there's so much that TBT has got on the calendar. Certainly tomorrow starts with our normal Shabbat morning events with several Torah studies, one by the clergy and one led by the community, and Shabbat service. But then, of course, tomorrow at 6 is our community Seder. I look forward to seeing many of you there. On Sunday, we have a few big events, including the Mitzvah Garden Work Party, which is at 11. And if you don't know, Arnie and company produce in between the TBT garden and the community garden a few blocks away, hundreds of pounds of food for HopeLink and other food pantries every year. And then sort of the big event of Sunday is the TBT Story Slam. And 11 members, I think it's 11 of the community, are going to step up and tell personal stories on the theme of starting over. And if you've ever seen the Moth Story Hour or heard the Moth Story Hour on NPR, or like personal stories told well, everyone who's doing it's got some coaching from a professional who will be moderating the event. Anyway, that's 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. You do need to register to get the Zoom link. And then I'll add one more, which is, one of the things that begins with Pesach is the counting of the Omar, which is 49 days between Passover and Shavuot. And I started learning about it more deeply just a couple years ago. And I'm just inviting you to look into it, and especially into the Kabbalistic traditions around counting of the Omar, which includes looking at our body and our spirits and the natural world. And in that view, that Mitzvah Garden Work Party is a great way to help celebrate the counting of the Omar. So, yeah. Chag Sameach, Good Pesach, Shabbat Shalom. And thank you all for being here, being part of the TBT family, and being part of our extended family.
Thank you, Andy. Perfect. So we are going to continue now with Aleinu, which can be found on page 283. And if you're able, please rise. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא שמחנו לייחד את שמו, וגור עלינו להמליך מלכותו, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו U'shemo echad. Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. On this Shabbat evening, we remember the most recent passing of Dick Woodruff, our former accompanist at TBT and close friend of Cantor David. Asher Hashash, former congregant, educator in the Jewish community. Manny Weiser, loved one of Andy Held and the entire Held family, close friend. Charlotte Rosenbaum, mother of Kim Rosenbaum and Sidney Adler, father of Richard Adler. We also remember the yard sites, the anniversary of the deaths of David Anderson, Rachel Ballure, Catherine Brenner, Molly Brown, Rachel Kasten, Sophia Chudnovsky, Jordan Arnold Cohen, Sidney H. Cohn, Marjorie Coombs, Gloria Charlene Courage, Jack Robert Kershon, Sharon Chiron Dishy, Susan Dwoskin, Manny Falk, Robert M. Finn, Rosalie Gersh, Ellen Gerson, Betty Golddiamond, Rose Goldman, William Gordon, Norm Greenbaum, Michael F. Hinckley, Joan Cruz Hollingsworth, Laurel M. Jones, Jack Klass, Louis Klein, Alexander Marber, Michael Negrin, Ann Sablet, Elsie Salmonson, Marcia Shore, Lou Sommerhauser, Ruth Dahl, Joseph Trotty Sr., Robert Vasson, Nessie Warshall, Jesse Wadowski, Dr. William S. Wiener. Are there other names? And I'd like to invite anybody who is mourning a recent loss, if they'd like to share a few words about their loved one so that we can bless their memory together.
I'll try to say a few words. My dad passed away this morning. Obviously still grieving, because it's very recent. But within the grief, there's also a great appreciation for the longevity of his life. He was not taken early. He had a full life. He had just turned 93 early this month. But he was unique in so many ways, and probably his gusto for life, cognitive abilities, living independently, driving a car, even when we said, don't drive at night. It was like the roles had changed where he was the teenager, and now I was the parent, needing to keep an eye on his wildness. But he had struggled since August with some abdominal problems, led to surgery, second surgery, third surgery, and he just couldn't do it no more. Life is finite. Every day is a gift. We all know that. He lived it. And I'm sure that over time, there'll be more gifts that will be revealed as I contemplate what he left behind and what he left within me and my brother. I'm sad at the moment because I did not realize when we were going to have this moment, and my whole family was online and they all signed off because we just thought it was just going to be an uplifting Pesach ceremony. We didn't know what was going on. And then when we had the board member begin discussing the upcoming events, we were like, well, we're all texted, I guess this is it. And I was about to sign off. And but that's okay. There'll be other opportunities for us to share and be together. So thank you for letting me share. It helps say it out loud.
Sure, that
Thank
is
you.
so beautiful. And let your family know that this will be online. This will be recorded so that they can see it later, because what you said was incredibly touching. And I think they'll want to see it.
Thank you. As my dad would say,
L'chaim.
L'chaim.
So we're going to all rise in solidarity with Richard, his family, the Helds, everyone, the Kershawns, everyone who's remembering a loved one this evening, and say together in ancient words, Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach Yerotei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayachon uvyomachon uv'chaye dechol Beit Israel, Ba'galav v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal Shmei de Kudasha. B'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba min Shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Israel, v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mrumav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Israel, v'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Israel, ve'imru, v'imru. Amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Israel. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Israel. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. Oh, that's the wrong one. There we go. So Josh wanted to sing us out tonight in preparation for our Pesach Seder tomorrow, with words from combination, our redemption song of Michamocha and the redemption song by Bob Marley. So Josh, will you sing us out?
Oh no. tehilo o sefele oh pirates yes they rabbi sold I to the merchant ships minutes after day took I from this bottomless pit but my hand was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We're forward in this generation, triumphantly. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had, redemption songs, redemption songs. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long will they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? Is all I ever had. Redemption song.
What?
Is all I ever had. Redemption song.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Chag Sameach. May you all have a very peaceful, freeing Pesach this year. And as we are becoming accustomed to saying, next year in person. So hopefully we'll see you tomorrow night for our community Seder, or you have something lovely planned at home with your families, and you join us on the second night for our special Passover storytelling with Terry Wolf.
You just press leave meeting.
Thank you all so much for being here tonight. I'm going to turn off the live feed, and whoever would like to stay in schmooze in our own egg, or as Richard said earlier, our post egg, please feel free to do that.